3. Not too long ago, I posted a story about a man named Elliot, who called on a night there was a severe storm. I mentioned in that story that there were 2 other calls made that night that have stayed with me. This story happens to be one of them. If you've worked in dispatching long enough, you and your coworkers will start to come up with names for certain types of calls. One name that's been around longer than I have is the term ghost call. Ghost calls are calls that come in without a location, without a callback number, and usually result in responding officers finding nothing upon their arrival. Although it sounds a lot spookier than it is, it often results in the call just being a prank call or a computer malfunction. However, there are times that a prank doesn't seem to cover it. For example, my story about Robert. In the nearly 6 years I've been a dispatcher, I've only received a handful of ghost calls that have left me to think that it's beyond a prank or a faulty system. For confidentiality reasons, all names have been made up. This call came in about 3 a.m. during a thunderstorm. 911, what's your emergency?
Help me before he comes back, please.
A woman yelled into the phone, and I sat upright in my chair. Can you tell me your location? Nothing was happening on my screen. No number, no address, nothing. A part of me was worried that it had something to do with the storm.
I don't... him. He brought me here. You have to help me. Please.
She spoke through the static, and I could hear her crying over the line. Okay, that's okay. Do you know who brought you there?
No.
She whimpered.
I'm so scared.
I know, but I need you to be strong for me right now. Where were you before you were brought there?
I was walking home from...
The static cut her off again. Walking home? From where?
work.
Okay, where do you work? She was cut off by the heavy static once more. I'm having trouble hearing you. There's a lot of static. Did you say you worked at... It was an old bakery that had been closed down a few years back.
Yeah.
Okay. Confusion obvious in my voice. Are you outside in the rain? All I could hear was static, the sound of rain and thunder, off in the distance. I turned up the volume on my headset, knowing it probably wouldn't make a difference.
I think it's a shed. There's tools everywhere.
Okay, so you're in a shed. The man who took you, do you know where he went?
I don't know.
She sounded terrified. Can you tell me your name? Do you know how long you've been there?
Macy Gibbons.
She started to cry as static began to break through her words.
I don't know where I am. What do I do to go back?
My system isn't providing me with an address or location of where you are, so I'm going to have to ask you to do something for me, okay?
Okay.
If you can, I want you to step outside the shed and tell me what you see. Can you do that, Macy?
What if he's outside? What if he's for me to try and leave?
Is there a window in the shed? Is there any way for you to look outside without leaving the shed?
No. Am I going to die?
I didn't need her to clarify what she just said to understand. Macy, don't say that, okay? I need you to take a chance and look outside for me. Tell me everything that you see. I could hear her bracing herself to look outside. I know you're scared, but I'll be on the phone with you the whole time, okay? Despite the static, I could hear her open the door, and I could hear the full effect of the rain now.
I think I'm inside a house. It's dark. I don't know if anyone's home. I think I'm in the middle of the forest.
The forest? What about the forest? Are you in the forest? My heart was pounding.
I think so. Please help me. I don't know where I am.
Can you look for an address on the house? Are there any neighbors or anything that could help you point me in the right direction? I was getting desperate for information. My system was still not responsive, and all I could hear was a mixture of her crying, rain, and static.
Oh God, he's back. You need to...
She screeched over the line between the static, and I could hear her ragged breathing, as well as the sound of her running through what I imagined was the forest. Macy, did you say he was back? I could still hear her running. Macy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? This time I raised my voice to the speaker. The sound of running stopped, and I could hear the rain and thunder.
Please.
Macy's voice was distant, pleading. Before she could finish the rest of her sentence, the dial tone went off. My heart sank, and I sat there looking at my screens. These were the moments that made the job hard. There was nothing I could do. The system was unresponsive from beginning to end. No callback number, no address, nothing. Macy was still out there, by herself, in the cold rain, with God only knows who running after her. I waited a few days before searching up her name, hoping to find some sort of information. A missing persons report, a found safe and alive article, or even an obituary. Anything would be better than not knowing. However, the only search result that came up was a news article from 2009 about a young woman with the same name as my caller. The article disclosed that the woman had been brutally murdered, and police were seeking any information regarding her case. The case had since gone cold. No one knows who and why she was murdered. But how do I explain the call that I received? Number 2. The average time it should take for a police to respond to a dispatch and get to the destination of the emergency is anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes. Thankfully, from the exceptions of the posts I make, our responding officers within the city limits, or city zones, average that time as well. However, that isn't the case for the responding officers from the outskirt regions within the district. Calls made from townships within the community, but outside the city limits, have an average response time of 5 to 10 minutes. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a long time. It is, but when your city only has 1, maybe 2 cruisers responding to the outskirts calls that encompass most of that land, it's not as easy as it sounds. For confidentiality reasons, all names have been made up. This call came in around 10:30 p.m. on a Friday. 911, what's your emergency?
I think someone's in my house.
A woman spoke nervously as people whispered in the background. Okay, what's your name and address? I pinged for a location as I spoke.
Janice Martin, and the address is... We haven't been here since the summer. My husband is coming home tomorrow with the moving van.
I sent out the dispatch as she spoke, knowing that she was quite far from the outskirts of town. Janice, did you see the intruder?
No, yes. I don't really know. I thought I saw someone when I pulled up, but I can't really be sure.
Okay, where are you right now?
I'm in the car with my boys.
I could still hear kids murmuring to one another. Okay, good. Did your boy see the intruder as well?
No, I don't think so.
Just as I was about to speak, she continued.
I've never been here without my husband. I could just be scared. First night jitters, I guess.
She tried to laugh it off, but you could still hear the fear in her voice. Well, there's an officer en route, so they'll be able to check the place out for you, okay? We'll talk until they arrive. You said you have your boys with you. How old are they?
I have my oldest Philip and my youngest Alexander. They're 15 and 11.
I could hear the boys questioning about what was going on.
Mom, stop freaking out. I didn't see anyone when I pulled up. I can't even go in and check to make sure.
One of her sons spoke out in frustration.
Absolutely not,
she said sternly. You're absolutely right, ma'am. It's safer to stay right where you are and wait until police arrives, I said, backing up Janice, who inevitably put me on speaker while we spoke.
But I have to pee.
The other boy whined.
Really, Alex? You can't hold it?
Janice said with a sigh.
No.
The boy whined once more.
Go around back.
She spoke sternly once more as the car door opened and then closed. Where was the intruder when you saw him, Janice?
I thought I saw him in the front window, but I don't really know.
She took a deep and shaky breath. Okay, and you said you haven't been to the home since the summer, correct?
Yes, we last came here in June when we signed for the keys.
So it's been vacant since?
Yes.
As she spoke, my mind wandered to the possibility of there actually being someone in the house. The house was a lakefront property with few neighbors in the middle of nowhere, which, to me, seemed like the perfect opportunity for a squatter. I know it's been a while, but do you remember locking the door last time you were there?
I always lock the door before. Where's Alex?
Philip's remark cut Janet off, and she gasped as she processed what he said. She opened the door of her car and yelled out for Alex. Time felt like it stood still as we listened attentively for Alex's acknowledgement that never came. Janice, can you see Alex? I said, trying not to panic an already scared mother.
No, he was just peeing. He was just behind the car, right, Philip? You saw him, right?
She was frazzled as she spoke. Let's not panic, okay? He might have gone to a tree or something. Let's just try to give him another second. I tried not to sound worried as I spoke, but it didn't matter as she was already beginning to spiral.
I need to find my son,
she said before she left the vehicle, slamming the door behind her in what I imagined was one swift motion.
Mom!
Philip screamed after her. Philip, where's your mom going? I asked, already knowing the answer.
She went towards the house. Do I go after her?
His voice quivered as he spoke. No, I want you to stay in the car until police arrive. I want you to tell me what you see if anything's going on, okay? At this point, I wasn't sure what was going on, but I had a bad feeling.
I don't see. Wait, I just saw Mom.
I added to the dispatch about Janice and Alex now being somewhere in or around the house, and the other son being in the car.
What if something happens to them?
Philip's voice trembled as he spoke. We don't know that, so let's wait it out until the police arrive, okay? I said, trying to reassure him, although the bad feeling only got worse.
The police are here,
he screamed after about 30 seconds of silence.
What do I do now?
Just stay put. They know where you are, okay? So they'll come to get you. I paused, feeling relieved that the police were there. Philip, I'm going to disengage the call, okay? The police will take care of... I was cut off by the sound of 2 shots being fired, seconds apart.
Mom!
Philip shrieked. The line was cut. Later that week, the entire station was buzzing about the call. It wasn't until I had a free moment I was able to finally get the details from the responding officers. Apparently, after the 2 shots had been fired, police proceeded to enter the home, following the sound of Janice's guttural wails. They walked into the great room, where they found Janice holding her 11-year-old son's body, rocking back and forth. Alex unfortunately passed away just before the ambulance arrived on scene. According to Janice's statement, the intruder had aimed and fired his gun at her. However, her son, in an act of heroism, stepped out in front of her and took the bullet for himself. The intruder then proceeded to raise his gun once more, only this time pressed it against his temple and killed himself. Police said that her statement seemed to match what they had walked into, also adding it looked like the intruder was, in fact, living in their home for quite some time. Number 1. Truth be told, I've never really liked dealing with the mentally unstable. I wouldn't say it's because of personal experiences, though that might have swayed my judgment a bit over the years, but because people who are unstable make me uneasy. They're impulsive and very much unpredictable. You never really know what's going to happen next, but as a dispatcher, you're expected to use your training to paint a picture of where they're going to go with the call, to predict the unpredictable, all of which could get very confusing and end in a way you don't expect. For confidentiality reasons, all names have been made up. This call came in the early morning, about 3 a.m. 911, what's your emergency?
Hello? My name's Brianna Ray, and I really need help.
A woman's voice rang over the line. She was sobbing and seemed out of breath. What's your emergency, Brianna? Where are you located? She was calling from a cell phone.
He's coming after me. I can hear him out there. He's gonna kill me.
She spoke fast while somewhat hyperventilating. Okay, who's gonna kill you? I can send someone over as soon as you tell me where you are.
I don't know where I am. I woke up here. I just don't know where I am.
She started to cry again. What do you mean you just woke up there?
We stopped on the side of the road to get some rest. We were driving to... And I woke up here in the middle of nowhere. But I can hear someone walking around out there. He's gone.
She sounded panicked, and my system provided me with a ping. Who's gone?
Carter.
Who's Carter? Is he your boyfriend or something? I started to get very confused.
Yes.
He's not with you anymore? Was he there when you woke up?
No, I think he's gonna kill me.
Her breathing was still very rapid. Okay, I'm sending someone now to come find you. But I need you to do me a favor and give me a description of where you are. What do you see right now?
I think I'm on a highway? I don't know. There aren't any road signs or anything, and there's trees everywhere. There's nothing out here, not even a single car.
Her breathing calmed slightly, but her voice was still shaky. Okay, keep on describing things to me, Brianna. Is there something that sticks out to you? This is a tactic often used when people don't know where they are or are panicking. It helps them breathe for a moment without worrying about the emergency at hand. Even if they focus for just a minute, it gives their mind and body an opportunity to calm itself. It also helps provide me with a good description of where they are for the dispatch.
There's a big tree that snapped in half. It's kind of on the road, but not really.
Her breathing stopped short and she continued.
Did you hear that?
She was already beginning to panic again. Brianna, I didn't hear that. Can you tell me what you think you heard?
He's walking around out here. He's following me. Where the hell am I?
She raised her voice out of frustration. Brianna, listen. I want you to get back into your vehicle and stay there. Do you believe Carter's a danger to you?
I had my doubts before, but now I know that he definitely wants to kill me. He was just waiting for the perfect time.
I heard her walking. Okay, police are on their way. What happened before you woke up? You said Carter wasn't there, right? She sighed out of frustration, and then I heard her shut the vehicle door.
We're driving to... My sister's getting married. Not tomorrow, but the day after, so we left today. I think we drove like 5 hours, and then we decided to stop because he was tired and he didn't want to fall asleep at the wheel.
She took a deep breath in, and I heard her begin to cry.
We just pulled over and fell asleep. But then it was so cold, so I woke up. We were still on the side of the road, but he's gone. He left me. How could he just leave me? I was screaming for him to come back because I could hear him in the bushes, but he just wouldn't come back. He's planning something, I know it.
At this point, I was very confused as to what was exactly happening. So, you fell asleep, you woke up, and your boyfriend was gone, right? But now you think he's trying to kill you. Why do you think that? Maybe he's looking for help.
I've always known. I can just tell. I don't trust him. I never did. He's the kind of person that says he likes my hair, but I know he doesn't. He doesn't love me. He never did. He probably only wanted to go to the wedding to sleep with my sister. Do you think he'll kill me?
She spit words through the phone in very broken sentences, and it all took a moment to process. This young woman was very unwell. He's most likely trying to get some help. I tried to sound reassuring despite the fact I was still very confused. A part of me thought that she might have been hallucinating.
Are you in on it? Is that why you're defending him?
She retorted, and I was completely dumbfounded. What was I supposed to say? But just as I was about to speak, she started to panic.
I can see him. He's got his hand behind his back. Do you think he's gonna kill me?
I heard her open the compartments of the vehicle and shut them. She was turbulent. Are the doors locked in the vehicle? I want you to talk to him through the locked doors. Can you do that?
Yeah, what do I say?
She whispered, then I heard a knock at the window. Just make sure you're safe with him. Ask him where he was. I heard her repeat what I said to the boyfriend after a few moments. Of what I heard as silence, she unlocked the door.
Baby, I'm sorry. I walked on the road thinking I saw a gas station or something. I told you the start, it sucked.
Heard him say as he got in the vehicle. he asked.
Yeah, I'm talking to someone right now. Do you want to talk to him?
They exchanged the phone and Carter's voice came over the line with a symbol.
Hello?
Hi there, you must be Carter. My name's Ethan and I work with Dispatch. An officer should be there shortly. Did you say he was a starter?
Yeah, I think so. Baby, what are you doing?
He sounded worried.
Put that gun down. Now.
Carter, what's happening? Is Brianna alright?
She's got a gun pointing towards me. Was this a setup?
She yelled at him.
Baby, what are you talking about? I'm not a fucking idiot, Carter. I know you want to kill me. This is all part of your big plan.
She started yelling. Carter, I want you to calm her down. Start by telling her that you love her and that you would do nothing to hurt her. I spoke fast, my heart was racing.
I love you. Why would I ever do that? Please, put the gun down. We can talk about this. I know you're scared.
She cut him off.
Don't you dare lie to me. I know what this is.
She said, before I heard a single gunshot being fired. I gasped and jumped in my chair, not expecting it to be the last thing I heard before the dial tone. I don't know the details of what happened once the police arrived. I don't even know what happened to Carter or Brianna following the call. I checked the news religiously every day, multiple times a day, for weeks, hoping that I would get some sort of update on what happened that night, but nothing ever really made the news. To this day, I still have no idea what happened to Carter or Brianna. Hey guys, Edge here. Since those last few stories were pretty heavy, I figured I'd treat you all with a bonus story that's more lighthearted. So I hope you all enjoy. Bonus. I work for a prominent state agency in Georgia. We're not allowed to identify on social media, so just use your imagination. I've been here a little over 1 year as a dispatcher. I was working midnights a while back, just me and a supervisor. At about 0200, the phone rang and I picked it up. I identified myself and my agency as usual, and the lady on the other end starts talking.
Hello, I'm calling to speak with an officer. Is Trooper Todd there?
We have no troopers in our territory that are named Todd or anything close to Todd. No ma'am, but I can put you in touch with a trooper if you need to be. What's going on?
Well, I really need to speak with a trooper.
She sounded short of breath and distressed, so I started to worry. Sometimes people call us for emergencies, but they don't trust local police, think we have EMS and etc. Okay, but I really need to know what's going on. Are you in any trouble?
No, I just really need to talk to Todd.
Well, I'm not sure who Trooper Todd is. Is Todd his first name, or last name, or do you have his badge number?
I don't know. I need to talk to him, though.
The gasping escalated, and she sounded like she was in pain. It sounded like she was in labor or choking from my end, and it didn't help that the phone line was crackling. Ma'am, do you have an emergency? Do you need an ambulance or police? At this point, I was ready to transfer her to 911 because my agencies did not have officers on 24/7.
No, it's okay. Are you sure he's not there?
No, ma'am. I don't know who you're talking about. If you want, I can take down your name and number and have a trooper call you back as soon as possible.
No, it's okay.
You're sure there's no emergency? If you can tell me what county you're in, I'll transfer you to the local 911 agency and they can send help.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Alright, ma'am. Good night then. I hung up and looked at my supervisor. I have no idea what the fuck that was about. I told her the story and asked if she could pull the recording and play it. She sounded like she was in labor or something. It was bizarre. Just as my supervisor picked the call out of playback, the phone rang. Same number on the caller ID. She looked at me and I said, "Never mind. Let's see what she says this time." I picked up the phone and ID'd myself again.
Hey, I really need to talk to Todd. Is he there?
No, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I believe we just spoke.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. Now, if you can tell me what's going on, I can try and help you with whatever's going on. It was at this very moment Through the fuzzy and crackling telephone line, I distinctly heard the caller utter the following.
Oh, yes.
Punctuated by what I could now tell were not modes of pain, but pleasure. And it hit me. I looked at my supervisor and shook my head. I changed my voice from calm and patient to short and curt on a dime. Ma'am, this is an emergency line. I can take your name and number for a trooper to call you back or transfer you to 911. But I don't know who Todd is, and we don't have any troopers out here to speak with you right now.
Okay,
She answered.
that's alright.
She sounded a little let down, and I got off the phone and explained to my supervisor, and we had a good laugh. One of my best calls I've had yet. I'm just a little embarrassed it took so long to figure out what she really wanted. Maybe I should have lowered my voice and asked, Trooper Todd isn't here, but I am. What can I do for you? Need me to come over? Oh, fuck. Oh.